Thank you. It's a delight to be here with all of you. And Haley, great job. You're amazing and awesome. And really, you need to give her a big round of applause for all the behind the scenes work she does. Truly, truly magnificent. Thank you, Haley. You know, what I want to really focus on for all of you is how to create that visibility factor, that woohoo factor that gets you publicity. And, you know, I got good news. I do have good news in that now is a beautiful time for many of you to get powerful publicity without spending a fortune. So I just want to say that it's a really good time. And terrific opportunity. So the others who maybe right now isn't quite the right moment because maybe you have a different theme or you're planning ahead, I want you to be planning ahead 3, 6, and 9 months ahead. And in fact, I want you to plant your publicity seeds now so that your publicity garden grows. And that's a real key. All right, and that's a really important piece. You know, recently I was just actually on a telesummit, and she asked me, well, why do we need publicity? And well, I'll just show you a slide that my friend P.T. Barnum said it best, and that is a terrible thing happens without publicity. Nothing, right? And it's just the power of getting your name out there, creating that visibility. And let me show you some of the things it does. I also want to tell you all that I'll be giving you some content. I'll let you know how to work with me. And then I'd like to be able to also come back and take some of your questions and help you with very specific focus that you have. So start also writing your questions down and be thinking about how I can help you, because it is my goal to support you while we're in this time together. All right. And I want to show you what does publicity do. Before I actually do that, I'd like you actually, if you could put in the chat, have you ever had publicity? Put yes or no. Go ahead, put that in chat. Have you ever had publicity? Perfect. Yay. Yay. Good. Oh, I love it. Oh, lots of good publicity. That's beautiful. Now I hope that the things I tell you today are going to leverage that. And you know, that's good that you've gotten publicity. Now you want to keep going, keep going, keep going, right? See, publicity, you don't end it per se. I mean, if you ended it, what would happen to all the celebrities and people that you've heard of? Because when you fade from vision, well, you fade from vision. So you do want to keep creating an ongoing campaign. And when I say ongoing, it's, you know, what I mean is an hour a week of focused visibility building activities. And then sometimes when you're in the midst of a larger putting out there campaign, well, great, there'll be a blitz of activity and a blur of activity. And then I like to do those maybe once every quarter. And so that's really key. And then the exception being that you want to jump to the publicity wheelhouse when the moment is here, right? And so I want to show you how powerful publicity is, because first of all, it just gives you completely huge return on investment. It gives you increased prospects, right? And more visibility and more sales. It gives you increased trust, which is so important right now. And you want to create that visibility that I've heard of her somewhere syndrome, the credibility, which brings you clients and more money and more exposure in the marketplace. And I only mean the good kind. And really what we want to do is make it all about your message. I'm going to share with you that if I were to pick one thing that is so key for the power of your publicity, it starts with your message. Type in the chat, what are the first 2 letters of the word message? What are the first 2 letters? Exactly. First 2 letters of message is me. Isn't that interesting? What are the last 4 letters of message, please? Last 4 letters of message. Sage, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, in the word message is me, sage. You are all sages. Point yourself right in your heart, right now, right in your heart, and say, I am an expert. I am an expert, because you are an expert. And sometimes we may shift what you're an expert in depending on what's going on in the marketplace. But most importantly, we want you on an automated, continuous, replicatable system, which I'm really big on. And Publicity is a replicatable system, so that you don't become, what's the first four letters of message? First four letters of message, what is it? Type it in the chat. Mess, exactly. I don't want you to be a mess out there. I want you to have good answers, articulate your message quickly, simply, and effectively. And the way to do that is to have a great problem solution. The way to do that is to know what you're going to say, no matter what, no matter where, no matter how you feel, no matter what went on that day. To have a great message is important. And here's what's so key. Do you know the fact that networking in this great event is publicity? The speakers, yes, of course, but you all, as participants, you're doing publicity. And for instance, right now, my main definition is when you walk into a Zoom room, out your door, guess what you're doing? Publicity. Let's have a way that you can get your name out there in a focused way. And let me give you a great formula for how to do that right now. Here's what you do. You say, the problem today is, and I would say something like, the problem today is 4 out of 5 businesses will go out of business because you have no clue how to create publicity without spending a fortune. And then you want to give people 3 solutions. Why 3? Because they can remember in 3. It's easy. And I want you to use you language. When you are speaking to people about what you offer, when you are making your offer, when you are publicizing and promoting and networking and introducing yourself, use you language. It'll make a huge difference for all of you. And you'll notice I'm doing it all throughout my presentation. So here's I want to just give you an example, if I may, of the problem solution formula. This is mine. I'm about to lay down thousands of dollars of PR tips in addition to everything else we're covering today. And so take some notes. I'm going to do it in 5-year-old language. I'm going to make it really easy. Pay attention to the you language and notice the simplicity of the language. Okay, I'm taking 25 years of PR experience and putting it into simple, bite-sized nuggets that are easy for you to digest. So here it is. And by the way, really short and simple too, because, when you're in media interviews, might I tell you, that a major media TV segment, for instance, when I was on Fox News for the Profit of Kindness in 7 markets, I was on for an average, check this out, of 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, I recently did a whole bunch of radio interviews because Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben changed their branding in light of Black Lives Matter moments. And those 50,000 watt radio stations in Louisville, Kentucky, and Columbus, Ohio, and Cincinnati, and Houston, and so on, those were 7 to 10 minutes. Most podcasts, 30 minutes max. My own podcast is 15 minutes because I believe in short, focused, especially in media segments, because people will listen. So you need to be short and focused with your introduction. So here's mine. The problem today is 4 out of 5 businesses will go out of business because you have no clue how to create publicity without spending a fortune. I want to give you 3 guerrilla publicity tips today for how to get your message in the media. The first way to get noticed is to create your ooh, ah factor. The second way is to create the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. And the third way is focus on networking magic and show up in your communities at least twice a month for name and face recognition. Now, my friends, that was my message, about 12 seconds long, right? And simple and easy and quick. Also, I want you, if you can, use your coaching programs, your names of your programs, the name of your business inside of your message somewhere. That is a hot tip. Write that down. And also, I want you to get that the power of your message keeps penetrating. And I want you to be, 2 words, consistent and persistent in the marketplace. So I must admit, your message is going to bore you. Your message is going to bore you. And Mary Beth will write our problem solution back in the chat for you. If you'd be so kind, Mary Beth, to do that, that'd be great. Because the point is that the focus is on the chit chat, right? On the connection. But I also want to say to you that you control your message. You control your message, especially in media, because in media, let me just say, they're controlling, the time. You control the message. I remember when I went into Fox News Las Vegas, and we were doing like 8 Fox News networks, literally the first week that my 4th book was out, The Prophet of Kindness. And I remember the woman, I'm sitting down, I got 2 minutes to showtime, which by the way is a little bit like pant, breathe, pray, just stay centered. And the red light's on. I see the teleprompter with my introduction for the host. And the producer comes running up to me. She goes, "Hey, Jill, do you want to talk about kindness in politics, kindness in the world, or kindness in business?" And I'm like, I'll take door number 3, please. Kindness in business, because that's really what the book's about. But the point is that was up to me. That was up to me. And so let's go on to the next slide, because I want to talk about the ooh, ah factor. That was part of my sound bites. You notice they were all sound bites. Here's the other thing. Give people appetizers, not full meals. What I mean by that is don't give away your whole store, right? You want people to hire you, to engage with your services, to buy your products. That's key. So part of the way that you get into media, part of the way you create that visibility factor is to create the ooh, ah factor. And we spelled it out on the slide for you, just in case you can't. What do I mean by that? I mean that, well, let me just say, you want to use everything you've got. Use everything you've got. So use your ethnicity, use your religion, use being a woman for International Women's Day. I have a woman who's a coach who's African-American. We got her out for Black Lives Matter, talking about being a Black woman in today's environment and using her voice. I told you that I've been on, major radio talking about Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben's, and by the way, also the Dixie Chicks, who dropped the word Dixie out of their name, out of their band name. And that's about today's movements and movements. I've got health and transformational experts who are going on talking about COVID. I've got a transformational mind and mental mindset experts who are talking about setting yourself up for success even when things don't look good. Financial experts who are talking about setting up for the last quarter to win, as well as how to beat the odds in a tough economic environment. A relationship expert who became the quarantine Cupid, which got her into WGN in Chicago, major radio network. You get the point, right? I've got a business consultant. She was in my virtual publicity crash course, and I remember she raised her hand during one of the breakouts to me, and she said, "Hey, Jill, I got a problem." I'm like, "What?" She says, "Well, I'm a business consultant. I'm not a math teacher. I got a 9-year-old. He needs me to teach him math. I don't know how." And we made that the story. How do you run a business and still homeschool? That was an interesting story that actually got her multiple media impact quickly. Use everything you've got, everything that's happening to you, all about your personal story, the vulnerable parts, the happy parts, all of it. All of it's usually useful, and keep using it. Let me show you an example. This is a client, Ryan. And Ryan, he's an instructional designer, and I say it that way because frankly, I had no idea what that was. And when Ryan told me what it was, I'm like, no offense, Ryan, that's not going to get you publicity. So I did what I do with anyone, and I listened to his story, because one thing God gave me is the opportunity and ability to help people translate stories. And I asked Ryan about his story, and he told me that he had been fired from his corporate job. Well, okay, downsized. At that time, he had a pregnant wife with their third child on the way, and he had just bought a big house. Now he's got a big mortgage payment, a wife with their third kid and 2 mouths to feed. And did I mention no job? I'm like, Ryan, what'd you do? He said, well, I started my own company and online. He literally had 8 people working doing instructional design. In today's terms, he pivoted very well and very fast, right? I love that. And so, you know what? I sat with Ryan and I did, well, listening to his story, I created Ryan into a virtual office warrior. Now put in the chat, what's the acronym for virtual office warrior? Put it in the chat, please. Yes, it is vow. Ryan took a vow. Thank you. Ryan took a vow never to work in an office again. Now look at the screen. Look at the headline of the San Francisco Business Times and picture this, you in the headline and the front page of the San Francisco Business Times or any business journal wherever you live or in any market all around the world. And the headline says, when fired, you too can vow not to work in an office again. That story got him into that and 9 months worth of publicity because we pushed the right button. And it also, check this out, got him into Entrepreneur Magazine, Home Office Computing, Mac Home Journal. The list goes on. And let me show you some more of Ryan's PR's results because literally he was featured in major national magazines, podcasts, blogs, right? Lots of print in particular, because that's where we were focused. His business revenues increased literally over 40% using publicity marketing strategies. And do you remember the part about use everything you've got? Well, Ryan is Asian American. And although he doesn't speak Chinese, one article, we translated his article into Chinese, and one article resulted in a $7,000 consulting engagement from just one article. Imagine that for you. That was one article, my friends, and let me tell you, there was multiples over a 9-month period, and literally launched his business from zero and laid off to thriving using the power of publicity. Now, I want to show you with Profit of Kindness what happened. This is my 4th book, and literally, as much as I'd love to tell you, hey, we got a ton of publicity, including what you see on the screen on the bottom, which is about 1/3 of the publicity we got, because, well, Jill's got a new book out? No, that's not the story. And it's not the story of your business or your products or your services. The story's always, what's the problem in the marketplace and what's the solution that you provide, that you give to people, that gives you value. You know, I have an insurance agent going out right now with what is the insurance that you really need? You know, I have a naturopath doctor who's talking about alternative and good healing for today's times. What can you do to keep your immune system boosted? Great thing we all need to know. Well, at that time, what I realized is, and we continue to be, a divided states of America. Now, this was the story for the United States, but hey, I got picked up in Australia. I got picked up from an Iranian magazine that featured it to their corporate people. And, you know, I joke that, well, I don't know Farsi, so I'm not quite sure what the article says, but I do know it was well received all around the world. And this particular story, geared more toward the United States media market, actually got me literally those 8 Fox News, those quick segments that first week, CBS News Morning Show in Virginia, literally over 75 radio and podcasts, in Inc. magazine and Forbes magazine twice, and so many others that I'm so blessed, because now what we're doing is spreading kindness all around the world. And, you know, what I'm so thrilled to also share with you is one of the things I help people do is get major book deals with publishers and agents, and then self-published authors get foreign rights deals. And I am thrilled to tell you that the Profit of Kindness is now in India and in Russia. more to come, but I figure, you know, if we get China, we'll have half the world talking about kindness, spreading kindness, and that's a beautiful thing. And one of the things I've done is put together kindness circles. The next one is October 22nd. They are completely free. We are working on really spreading kindness all around the world and helping your business with what do you need next, and forming circles so that we can support each other. Next one is October 22nd. Please come join us. And we have posted in the chat how to register, which is jilllublin.com/kindness circles. Again, they're completely free, and you're welcome to be our guest and spreading kindness. And I hope that you're really hearing that the media for kindness was the message that worked, called the Divided States of America. Remember, keep looking, I'll call it eagle view, for what your message is and how you can fit in. And keep listening for news. Put yourself on Google Alerts. It's completely free. And make sure that you're registered so you see what media is coming up, what's happening in the media that's important for you. Now, most importantly, I want to show you Entrepreneur Magazine. They said a lot of things to me when I was writing guerrilla publicity. And two things I want you to pay attention to particularly is that the June issue, their deadline is March. And the writer's deadline is January 15th. That's 6 months ahead. Remember, my friends, you are creating your media 3, 6, and 9 months ahead. So keep planning, plotting, and creating the power of your publicity. And the thing I want to really also underline for you is that no matter what the media says, you're going to keep saying yes. No matter what they ask you, no matter what it is, and segments. Like I had a woman, she's a trainer, and she helps people build leadership teams. When NBC Nightly News, and she does this, by the way, through food. So she was in my virtual publicity course, learned how to do systematic publicity and get it done quickly and easily. And what happened was NBC Nightly News responded to her. And they were working on an aphrodisiac cooking show. And they said, hey, could you do an aphrodisiac cooking segment? Now, that's not what she does. However, when, you know, huge NBC Nightly News said, can you do this? She's been trained by me. She said yes, resulting in over $700,000 worth of literally free advertising because her interview was up and great. And can you imagine, picture this, walking into prospects, sending in advance your wonderful publicity that outlines who you are and gives people a taste of you, literally. So, and why I say over $700,000 is because had she paid for that segment on NBC Nightly News, it would have been exactly, because we actually looked at it, investigated it, and calculated it, and it would have been $720,000 completely free. That's the power of publicity. So you just keep saying yes, my friends. And I'm going to come back and we're going to answer some questions. Before I do, though, I'd love to tell you how you can continue to work with me. And what I did to make publicity easy for you was created a virtual publicity course. This is a one-day class. It's get it done. It's roll up our sleeves. And we're going to craft your message. I'm going to actually have you do 3 documents that the press needs to say yes to you. And then you'll have 4 templates that you can use for every and any project that you're ever working on. And what's wonderful about this is we're going to go through simple, easy, and effective techniques to get it done right there so that now you're systemized and you have a system that will go out every 30 days, every 60 days, and every 90 days. And it is, again, get it done live, interactive with me. It's small groups. They do sell out, so please register quickly, especially because you're going to be very happy to know that I have, shall we say, priced this at pandemic pricing. This course used to be over $1,000. And
I don't think she may be better.
can we mute everybody, please? Thank you. So this course used to be over $1,000, and pandemic pricing, my friends, I want to make this accessible to all of you. And now it's only $197. So super on that. Please, like I said, make sure you register. We keep them small. It's live, interactive with me all day long. Great networking, great breakout rooms. And most importantly, you're going to get your publicity done the right way. So you go to you go to publicitycrashcourse.com and you put in the code Stay Visible. It's all lowercase and case sensitive, and pick a date. Pick whatever date works for you. We are so looking forward to serving you and getting your name out there, because most importantly, my friends, your message matters. And if you do want to talk to me about publishing a book or anything like that, we'll put in how to schedule a Zoom call, particularly if you have questions around publishing. But I'm so looking forward to serving you in the course at a price that's never really been offered, but I want to make this so easy for all of you to say yes.